The lights inside the America's Got Talent theater burned bright, but the boy standing at the edge of the stage felt colder than he ever had before. His name was Miguel Santos, a 14-year-old from a small coastal village in the Philippines, a place where the ocean gave more food than money and dreams usually stayed small so they would not hurt as much when they broke. Miguel's clothes were simple, his shoes slightly worn, and his guitar had scratches that told stories of years of use. To the audience, he looked nervous, almost fragile, like someone who had wandered into the wrong building by mistake. The judges glanced at his audition form. A poor Filipino boy, self-taught musician, song choice, Hotel California by the Eagles. One judge raised an eyebrow. Another leaned back, already skeptical. It was a legendary song, one of the most difficult classics to sing with feeling and control. Many professionals had failed trying to make it their own. The crowd murmured softly, unsure whether to expect something special or another awkward audition that would end with polite applause and rejection. When the host asked Miguel where he was from, his accent was thick but clear. He spoke about his village, about his mother who sold fish in the market, and about his father who had passed away when Miguel was very young. The room quieted. Still, sympathy was not enough to win this stage. Talent was everything here. The music started with a gentle strum. Miguel's fingers moved across the strings with surprising confidence, and the sound that came from the guitar was warm, clean, and controlled. A few heads lifted. He began to sing, softly at first, almost like he was singing to himself. His voice was not loud, but it carried a deep, haunting tone that instantly cut through the noise of the room. On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair. Something shifted. The judges leaned forward. The audience stopped breathing. Miguel's voice held a pain that felt lived in, as if every word had been earned through experience rather than practice. This was not a boy copying a famous song. This was someone telling a story that somehow belonged to him. As he moved into the chorus, his voice grew stronger, richer, filled with emotion that sent chills across the theater. One judge blinked rapidly, surprised by the tears suddenly forming. Another judge whispered, "Oh my God," under their breath. But the real twist came halfway through the song. Miguel stopped playing for just a moment. The guitar went silent. The audience thought he had forgotten the lyrics. Then he spoke. He explained that Hotel California was the last song his father had ever sung to him. His father used to play guitar for tourists near the beach, earning a few pesos so the family could eat. One night, after a long day, his father played that song under the stars, promising Miguel that music could take him anywhere in the world. A week later, his father died suddenly from illness they could not afford to treat. The theater was completely silent. Miguel lowered his head, then lifted it again. When he resumed singing, something extraordinary happened. His voice cracked, not from weakness, but from truth. Every lyric now carried the weight of loss, hope, and longing. The song transformed into a farewell, a prayer, and a dream all at once. The judges were no longer evaluating. They were feeling. As the final guitar solo approached, Miguel surprised everyone again. He closed his eyes and played with a skill far beyond his age, fingers flying across the strings with passion and precision. The sound filled the room, echoing like waves crashing against the shore of his hometown. The audience rose to their feet before the song even ended. When Miguel sang the final line, his voice softened into a whisper, and then silence fell. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then the theater exploded. The crowd screamed, clapped, cried. Judges stood up instantly. One judge had tears streaming down their face, openly wiping them away. Another shook their head in disbelief, repeating, "That was unreal. That was unreal." Miguel stood frozen, eyes wide, hands shaking, unsure if what he was seeing was real. One judge spoke first, saying they had heard Hotel California hundreds of times, but never like this. Another judge said Miguel didn't just sing the song, he lived inside it. Then came the moment no one expected. A judge reached for the golden buzzer. The entire room seemed to slow down as the hand hovered, then slammed it with force. Golden confetti rained from the ceiling. The crowd screamed louder than ever. Miguel dropped to his knees, covering his face as tears poured out. He cried for his father, for his mother watching back home on a borrowed television, for the years of hunger, doubt, and struggle that had led to this single moment. As the confetti fell, one judge walked onto the stage and hugged him, telling him that his father would be proud, and that America had just fallen in love with him. But the story did not end there. In the weeks that followed, Miguel became a sensation. Videos of his audition spread across social media, reaching millions around the world. People were stunned not only by his talent, but by his humility. Interviews revealed that Miguel almost didn't come to America because his family could not afford the travel costs. The community in his village had raised money together, believing in him when he barely believed in himself. Then another twist emerged. During rehearsals for the live shows, Miguel lost his voice. Doctors warned that stress and overuse could damage it permanently. He faced a terrifying choice: rest and risk elimination, or perform and risk losing his voice forever. For days, he stayed silent, communicating only through writing, praying quietly backstage. On the night of the live performance, Miguel walked on stage again. The judges looked concerned. The audience sensed something was wrong. When asked if he was okay, Miguel nodded, though fear filled his eyes. He chose to sing a softer arrangement, stripping everything back to just his voice and guitar. It was not as powerful as his audition, but it was honest, careful, and deeply emotional. The audience listened in respectful silence, understanding the sacrifice behind every note. He made it through. Week after week, Miguel grew stronger, not just as a singer, but as a person. He learned to speak confidently, to believe that his story mattered. He sent money home to help his mother repair their house. He recorded a message thanking the people in his village, promising never to forget where he came from. By the time the finals arrived, Miguel was no longer just the poor boy from the Philippines. He was a symbol of hope. His final performance combined his journey into one unforgettable moment. He sang with control, passion, and gratitude, his voice healed and stronger than ever. The judges praised not only his talent, but his heart. Win or lose, they said, his life had already changed forever. When the season ended, Miguel did not win first place. But something greater happened. A major record label offered him a deal. Music legends reached out to mentor him. A scholarship was created in his father's name to support young musicians in his village. Miguel returned home for a visit, greeted by crowds and tears, playing Hotel California on the same beach where his father once stood. He looked out at the ocean and smiled, knowing that some dreams do come true, not because they are easy, but because they are earned. And now, this story reaches you. If Miguel's journey moved you, don't forget to subscribe, because stories like this remind us why we believe in dreams.